Liam Davies versus Erik Robles Ayala. 12 rounds in the 122-pound division. This one is taking place over in the UK this Saturday on the 16th. Let's get into it. Let's start with Davies. 15 wins, no losses, 7 wins by way of knockout. I personally think this is going to be one of his toughest tests and toughest fights to date. I wasn't really too high on Liam Davies, in all honesty, but I did rate him a little bit more when he fought Ionut Baluta, right? Baluta now doesn't have a crazy record by no means or anything like that, but he's a tough fighter. He'll make guys fight. He's going to force you to let your hands go and stand and trade. He's just a good litmus test for young fighters. And I thought Davies handled that fight very well. There were moments when he needed to stand in the pocket and stand his ground, and he did that. Baluta brought pressure, as he usually always does, even though he's not a big puncher, always comes forward. And I thought Davies responded very, very nicely in that fight. He controlled the range to use his jab to get his shots off and to gauge the distance, create separation. He let his hands go at the right time, and he slipped shots and moved his head off of the line. I thought he countered well in that fight. And again, I thought he looked very, very good in that fight. He looked confident, right? He showed that he can fight wherever the fight needs to go. After that, he fought Jason Cunningham, who was a much more experienced fighter than him. Davies came in with urgency. Davies in that fight looked like the only outcome that he wanted in that fight was the stoppage, because he came in and pushed the pace very early. He was aggressive early. He was moving with a sense of urgency and purpose in that fight. He stunned Cunningham with a powerful right hand that stopped him right in his tracks in the first round. And you can see it was only a matter of time when that shot landed. And when I say a matter of time, I'm talking about the first round, because that's all it took. That's all that was needed. And Davies closed out the show in the first round. It was a very impressive win. In his most recent fight, he fought Vincenzo La Femina, was undefeated at the time, who many had said that he had a great chin. And Davies came out, again, aggressive and pushing the pace, but was very calculated with his approach, right? He landed some nice body shots, nice straight hands, but you could see, again, he was aware, and he was in control of the distance. Like, he wasn't necessarily overcommitting on his shots, even though you could see he wanted to test that chin. He knew he couldn't just go in recklessly. I felt like he wasn't forcing anything. He was waiting for the right time. La Femina came in a little too confident, man. That man came in like he was pressing forward, but he had his hands down, right? He was kind of trying to mock a little bit and to set up and to just try to taunt a little bit, or just to show a little bit confidence, like, I'm not intimidated by you. And he had his hands down for a majority part of that fight. And if you do that against someone who is a good counterpuncher, who's rangy and can reach you with distance, man, at some point, like, that's going to not work out in your favor. And in that same situation, La Femina came down with his hands low, and Davies came with a short right hand that dropped him and made him pay for it. La Femina ended up on the canvas. But shortly after that, La Femina himself landed a shot that landed on Davies' chin, and he fell to the canvas. Though I don't think he was hurt, I felt like it was just one of those flash shots that landed at the right time, because Davies didn't look hurt by no means. He got back up and finished off the round. At the end of the fourth round, La Femina got caught lunging and reaching, and Davies looped a left hand and caught him and landed on the chin. La Femina, man, he's kind of a wild fighter, man. Like, he takes a lot of risk, but I don't know if they're all calculated. I don't know if they're all strategically planned. He seems like an emotional fighter, and in this fight, the emotions got the best of him, and his defensive and his lack of defense did not back him up as well. And that chin proved to not be as strong as many people thought. Davies caught him with a left hook that dropped him again. And in the fifth round, Davies was able to close out the show, right? So it's going to be interesting to see, man, because again, I don't think Davies is a big, devastating puncher, but the level of confidence that he's had in these past 2 fights, I mean, he stopped 2 opponents by way of stoppage, including an undefeated fighter. So there is something there in Davies that he's feeling and believing. And if this is the type of momentum that he's going to carry into this fight, man, Ayala's got to be careful, right? Because a man with confidence is a very dangerous man to beat. But Erik Robles Ayala is a confident person as well too, and he is no stranger to coming into his opponent's home country and upsetting the favorite. Let's talk about him. Erik Robles Ayala, 15 wins, 1 loss, 9 wins by way of knockout. He's been stopped before, years on years back. He's a much better fighter now than what he once was when he lost that fight. This is his second fight away from his home country of Mexico. And again, as I said, he is no stranger to causing up an upset. He had a great year last year, highlighted by when he fought Lee McGregor. Robles Ayala is a rangy fighter. He's a good combination puncher. He isn't afraid to let his hands go. He'll stay and fight on the inside. He's got good pop in his shots. He's got a good jab. He's just a very calm fighter. When he fought Lee McGregor, McGregor was having success with the uppercuts from in close. When he was going to the body, he had success there too. It didn't look like McGregor's shots as the fight went on had a lot of steam on them. It also looked like most of those rounds he was getting outworked a little bit, like he just wasn't throwing enough. Whereas Erik Robles Ayala, he just kept touching him, right? Kept touching him with jabs, kept touching him with straight hands, mixing up variations of attack and fighting in bursts, combinations from in close and stepping aside, stepping out of range, and then throwing again. Robles Ayala did a great job of coming around the guard of McGregor to hit the body and to just find the target that was open. Right? I felt like there was a bunch of close rounds when they fought, but I felt like Robles Ayala just stayed committed to letting his hands go with consistency. I felt like in the 10th round, they were both hurt in different parts of that round. I felt like McGregor had Robles Ayala hurt to the body. I felt like McGregor was hurt as well too with a bunch of shots that Robles Ayala was putting forth, but neither man was able to capitalize on it. But you could see the tiredness from both men and the determination from both men at the same time. Ultimately, I thought it was a good fight, and in the end, Erik Robles Ayala was able to come away with the win and to take the belt. Again, some close rounds, but I just felt like Ayala just did a little bit more in the rounds that were close, and the judges probably swayed that way. Again, a close fight, could have went either way, not mad at that outcome by no means. But again, that was a massive upset for him because he was not supposed to win that fight. In his most recent fight, he fought Cesar Espinoza, and he fought to a unanimous decision victory back in his home country of Mexico to close out the year strong with another win. I think this is going to be a very good fight, man. I think stylistically, they're both similar in some ways. Even from a physical stature, they both look very similar. And so it's going to be interesting to see how it does play out. So who wins? Again, Robles has shown that he can come into his opponent's home country and upset the crowd favorite. So I don't think the moment is going to be too big for him. I think Davies is more of a threat than Lee McGregor is. I think it's going to be a bigger challenge for Erik Robles Ayala. I think Davies is probably more of a favorite in the UK than McGregor is. I could be wrong. And so I think Erik Robles Ayala, man, I think if he is going to win this fight, he's going to have to at least score a couple of knockdowns or stop Davies. I'm not sure he's going to get the nod by decision this time around, especially if the rounds are close. I feel like Davies does a great job of going to the body. Erik Robles Ayala was hurt to the body against McGregor in that fight, and I felt like Davies is a good body puncher, and he's going to target the body, and he's going to find opening as well in order to make that body feel those shots and see what can happen in the championship rounds, because this is Robles Ayala's second fight past 10 rounds. Davies knows how to pace himself. So again, this one is going to be an interesting fight, man. I think honestly, it's a 50-50 fight. But I can make a case for a scenario, and I'm sure you can too, where you can see either guys winning this fight. But I'm leaning towards Liam Davies to win this fight by decision. I could possibly see a late stoppage if Erik Robles Ayala tires out going into the championship rounds, because in that 10th and 11th round, he was tired against McGregor, but McGregor looked gassed out as well too, and he wasn't able to capitalize on it. But I like Liam Davies to get it done. What are your thoughts of this fight? Who do you have winning this one? Let me know in the comment section below. If you'd like to support the channel, there's a couple ways that you can do so. You can like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you'd like support by way of donation, you can find options in the description below. Also, my Cash App handle will be on screen as well. Any amount goes towards the growth of this channel. It'll be greatly, greatly appreciated. Shout out to everybody that continues to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Shout out to all the members holding down the membership section. I appreciate each of you. So with all that being said, if you've been watching the video, this time do me a favor and subscribe to the channel, and we'll definitely see you next time.